It's time to discuss UFC fighters that have insane aura, UFC fighters that have zero aura, and UFC fighters who are gaining, losing, and some are just living off of their aura. And what I mean by living off of their aura, there are some UFC fighters that no matter how many times they lose, they just have this aura that's built in that's kind of sustaining them. They're able to make a living off of pure aura alone. And we are going to be discussing this. Think of it as like, the aura is like the UFC fighter stock. It's either increasing or decreasing, or some guys, they're becoming billionaires off of their aura. A perfect example of a UFC fighter that is right now estimated to be worth $300 billion off of aura alone. He is right now the wealthiest aura merchant on the planet. It's actually Alex Pereira. This is not surprising at all. But Alex Pereira, every single time this guy fights, his aura increases. You know what I mean? It's like unstoppable at this point. His storyline is perfect. All right, it's like a Charles Oliveira-esque storyline, but he's not losing. He's like Thanos. Charles Oliveira, the fun had to come to an end. You know what I mean? But Alex Pereira keeps winning. They were chanting Chama. They were doing a Chama chant in Salt Lake City. This guy fought 3 times this year. He was huge as a star at UFC 300, big as a star at UFC 303. There wasn't a universal Chama chant happening in the freaking building. Absolutely not. We rarely ever see a fan base unanimously get behind a fighter this much, right? Because the Chama chant, that wasn't happening 3 months ago at UFC 303 International Fight Week. That wasn't happening at UFC 300. Yet at UFC 300 and UFC 303, he was already a megastar. And now we're getting like the entire stadium to chant Chama. He's continuing to skyrocket in regards to being a fan favorite. We've never seen anything like that, and he has the perfect career. This guy can't lose. So, yeah, Alex Pereira's got the most aura in the UFC. I don't think anyone would argue with that. Let's go on to Nick Diaz. This is a perfect example of a fighter that is just being sustained off of aura alone. You can only be in this category if you have aura that's you just have it. It's just like a natural setting. Nick Diaz is the worst fighter in the UFC. He's the least dangerous fighter. There are flyweights that could probably beat Nick Diaz in a fight right now, just based off being faster, more explosive. Nick Diaz had the worst performance of his entire career 3 years ago, where it looked like Robbie Lawler, who was an old man even 3 years ago. Old man Robbie made Nick look like, an old guy in a retirement home. It was a pity TKO. That was 3 years ago. Now imagine how much worse he is now. In 2025, when he's about to fight, basically, it's going to be 2025. Yet you could still make an edit of this guy. This guy could walk from a fucking parking lot spot into the UFC PI, and you can turn that into an edit. Just aura alone. He's going to get a crazy ovation. And it's not just him being a fan favorite. It's not just respect. No. People actually think Nick Diaz is still a badass killer. And he is compared to the average Joes, but I'm talking about in the UFC, he's a small fish in a big pond at this point. He's the minnow. And you'll still have Dan Hardy pick Nick Diaz to beat Vicente Luque. You will have non-Nick Diaz fanboys starting to be persuaded by the arguments that, man, I could see Nick getting it done. This is the thing. Nick Diaz, he is living off of his glory days, and he's going to be living off of them for the rest of his life. And he's earned it because he's a badass. But, compare him to Nate. Nate is more active. Nate is like the louder guy. He markets himself a little bit more. But still, Nate, honestly, in my opinion, has kind of lost a little bit of his aura. He has crazy aura, but he's been losing it a little bit. Nick, his aura has been maintained. You know what I mean? On fight week, people are going to be making edits of this guy just looking confused, strolling around the UFC PI. And again, people are going to start to think that this guy's going to beat Vicente. I guarantee it. People are going to start to think that this guy beats Vicente. He's going to have like his own little Chama chant when he walks out. I guarantee it. And it's not just respect. It's not just like, the retirement type of respect that we're talking about. No, people actually, there's something about Nick Diaz where people just think like this guy, this is him. This is the guy. He's got the Diaz bro that never was. The Diaz bro that never had a chance type of aura where, you know, he got banned from the UFC for 4 years and he had this crazy career, but he was always like a what if guy. And what if people have like that extra boost in aura? But let's get on to someone that's gaining aura, okay? We're going to talk about Magomed Ankalaev. Now, let's be honest, guys. Magomed Ankalaev, people are going to say, what are you talking about? This guy's got no aura. He's got no personality. And he's boring. So what are you even talking about gaining aura? He's got zero aura, man. Put him in the zero aura tier. First off, Magomed Ankalaev, he's hilarious. He's got an infectious energy about him when he's in the gym. And, you know, if you actually train with this guy, everyone that's trained with Magomed will tell you always the best training camp with Magomed, brother. Everybody knows when Magomed enters the gym, he's sort of the team captain. At Extreme Couture, people think of StrlckIand as the team captain. Actually, Magomed, when Magomed walks in, he's the team captain. You know, the workout sort of emits around Magomed. It's crazy because this guy, he actually has like insane aura, but people just don't realize that. But what people are starting to realize, if you actually think about it, if you deny this guy has any aura, let's be honest, Magomed's gaining aura. And you can sit here and you can deny that, but it is true. He's gaining the dark horse of the division that just will not get a title shot, and the champion is being protected from him aura. People are starting to say that Alex Pereira is being protected. The UFC is looking out for him. And even though Alex Pereira has this unbeatable mystique and seems like Thanos, if a guy with Alex Pereira's star power right now and an unbeatable mystique is being talked about as avoiding or being protected, right? That's not a good look. But that is a good look for Magomed Ankalaev. That is a good look for him because he's starting to build in the shadows this crazy resume, this insane non-title resume where he's just beating everyone. And he's not been beaten since he fought Paul Craig years ago. And again, like the longer this goes on, the more and more people are going to start to say, all right, Alex Pereira is great, but like, when are we going to have him actually fight the best guy in this division? Because it seems like he's just fighting winnable matchups. Like, don't get me wrong, that's not necessarily how it is. Alex Pereira is fighting former champions, and it's not like Magomed is this Habib grappler. He's actually, for the most part, in my opinion, a guy that makes his work on the feet. He's a striker, but you get where I'm coming from. It does seem like, okay, he's not fighting the best guy in this division. It's clearly Magomed. And he is gaining aura just because this is a fight that's been building. We were talking about Magomed versus Alex last year. And the longer that fight waits, the more and more people are going to start to say, all right, Magomed is that guy, though. Like, what are we doing here? Why is there any fight that isn't Alex Pereira and Magomed for a belt in the light heavyweight division? So he is gaining aura just based off of that. Let's get on to the next one. Dan Hooker gaining aura, okay? He's become a different guy. There was a point in time just a few years ago where we were talking about Dan Hooker as totally washed. I was saying that myself. This guy's washed. He's gonna be a sitting duck against Jalen Turner. He goes to war with Jalen Turner, gets his durability back, and we were talking about him as, you know, a guy that could be knocked out with a gust of wind at that point. And he just beat Mateusz Gamrot, who, even if we don't think Gamrot's like a insanely next level fighter, he is a solid top 10 level fighter. Some people would argue robbery, but nonetheless, he beat a nightmare matchup in Mateusz Gamrot. And now he's in the same position that Michael Chandler was in when they first started talking about Chandler versus McGregor. If you're in talks to fight Conor McGregor, you have to have aura. Okay, McGregor's not going to fight a guy that's just not got any aura. Let's get on to the next one. Sergei Pavlovich. This guy lost his aura faster than anyone else. Now, he got knocked out by Tom Aspinall, but still had it. Still had a little bit of it. But you just lose tons of aura when you get KO'd in the first minute and you are looked at as the KO guy. You are looked at as the scarier of the two when it comes to him and Aspinall at the time. Because Aspinall, man, I hope Aspinall doesn't stand with him. And then Aspinall stands with him and knocks him out. It's like, as I always said back in the day, it's like in a movie where there's the scary shark and then like a megalodon comes up and eats the scary shark. Yeah, Pavlovich was the scary shark that got ate by the megalodon. And then, okay, he had a little bit of it left. And then he fights Alexander Volkov and gets pieced up. And that's Volkov, man. Volkov's like the slow, kind of stiff guy. And, I understand Aspinall was looked at as a guy that moves around like a middleweight beating you, but now you've got this slow, Volkov guy just holding you off with that heavyweight speed, and you're supposed to be like this next level, fast KO guy. You touch people once, they go down. And, we just didn't see anything like that. He got beat up badly, and he was a sore loser afterwards and threw a bit of a fit. He's got no aura right now. Sergei Pavlovich went from like the boogeyman of that division to just a Derek Lewis, essentially. He's now in Derek Lewis category, where it's like, yeah, we can always see a KO from this guy, but like, let's be real. He's not becoming a champ, and he's not going to beat Gane. He's not going to beat any of these truly high-level heavyweights. That's just how it is. Adesanya. You know what? I'm going to say Adesanya's in this weird category, okay? I'm going to put him in the Nick Diaz category. Even though Adesanya lost his last fight against Dricus Du Plessis, he still is a big star. He still has aura, okay? Like, he had a good performance. Like, he actually looked pretty good on the feet against Dricus. But I can't say he's really losing a lot of aura. Like, he lost aura after that Paulo Costa fight and after the Alex Pereira fight where he knocked Alex Pereira out. He lost aura in the Strickland fight. But at this point, I think Adesanya is never really going to dip below a certain level of hype and mystique, if that makes sense. Like, I always think even if Adesanya loses again, if they put him in a main event in New Zealand for a fight night, this guy walks out, like, people are going to feel nostalgic. He just is a UFC legend, whether you like him or not. He's like Nick Diaz. Like, it doesn't matter how old he is. Adesanya is at that legendary status. He walks out, it's a big fight. He is the biggest name in his division still to this day, even though he's no longer a champion. So he's just kind of sustaining himself off of it. You know what I mean? At this point, he's kind of just living off of the aura, and that's great. So yeah, he's in that Nick Diaz category. Next up, we have Dricus Du Plessis gaining aura. I would say that even when Dricus beats Sean Strickland, he didn't really have a lot of aura, to be honest, because, people said that Strickland got robbed. And if you're the guy that wins a fight where a lot of people are making noise about it being a robbery, you almost lose aura. Think about Volkanovski when he beat Max Holloway in the rematch. People hated him. People were treating him like he wasn't even the champ. That's not good for your stock in this conversation. Okay, but now he's this guy that beat Robert Whittaker, he beat Sean Strickland, and he has removed that like arguable robbery fight by beating Adesanya and submitting him. So now people kind of forgot about that. He's coming off of a submission finish over Izzy, and now he's kind of got this legendary resume, this insane resume. He's taken out 3 of the best middleweights ever, some of them at least. So yeah, he's gaining a little bit of aura slowly, just by virtue of being like the last man standing kind of thing. Let's get on to the next one. Colby Covington, 0 aura at this point. He looked atrocious in his last fight. Just kind of let Leon Edwards throw 2 teeps around and accepted it. I mean, back in the day, Colby Covington, he was walking out and you just knew, all right, your favorite fighter's about to get beat. Or Kamaru Usman's going to have to go to a war for the first time in quite some time. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a battle every time Colby shows up. Now it's one of those things where it's like a couple of jabs and then this guy is going to be looking for a way out. You know what I mean? Colby's got the, if you hit him a couple times, he's looking for a way out type of energy at this point. So yeah, he's just in a completely different conversation. Buckley beats him, right? Gary beats him. Shavkat beats him. Like he's not top 5 conversation at this point, right? He just doesn't fight. He's irrelevant. Jiri Prochazka. Where should I put Jiri? I'm going to have to say he's losing aura a little bit. Now, unfortunately, you fight Alex Pereira twice in a row. He's going to make you look silly. If Pereira's gaining tons of aura in fights and you're the guy that he's fighting, you're losing it. And it doesn't help that you're walking out to This Is How Legends Are Made. Dude perfect music. It's just one of those things where, it's like the ninja shows on TV, whatever those are, like the, those like Crash Course ninja shows. That's like the type of music that they play in the commercials for those. And Jiri Prochazka's walking out to that. That's minus 1,000 aura every single step you take. And, he used to be this guy where, even if you beat this guy, you're going to have to put him out cold. And that's still kind of the case, absolutely, because he gained some of his aura when he fought Rakic, but like, still, he used to be the guy where it's like, you know, if you fight him, even if you beat him, you're going to have to go to war. Pereira didn't go to war with this guy. Not the first time and not the second time. In fact, he barely got grazed more than a couple times in the second fight with Jiri. All right, so Yuri's no longer this guy where it's like, even if you're a perfect striker, you're going to get bulldozed at least a couple of moments. That's not the case anymore. But he still has aura. Losing aura doesn't mean he has no aura. He still does have aura. It's just that, you know, he's been on the wrong side of a couple of edits, okay, at this point. He walked out to the Dude Perfect music. We are the war. You know, Jiri the Prochazka, he's going to walk out to We Are the Warriors. We're the greatest type of song next time he fights. Just something along those lines. Those are going to be the lyrics. So, yeah. Or maybe some Imagine Dragons.
Thunder. Hear the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
He needs a brutal KO to get his aura back. But he's losing it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means he's losing it a little bit right now. Let's get on to the next one. Moicano gaining it. Now we're talking about Moicano as if he's like a top 5, and there's no debate about that in the lightweight division. This guy beats Dustin. He beats Gaethje. I think he beats both of those guys. And if we're saying that about Moicano now, we were not saying that a year ago. It's because he's gaining a hype. And we're starting to believe in Moicano, okay? Moicano is becoming a fan favorite. And one more win. This guy's fighting for a belt. So, yeah, he's gaining lots of aura. Merab is losing his aura. Merab, I would say he definitely gained it after becoming champion. He definitely had a little bit of it because he beat Yan, and that was pretty crazy. But let's be honest, if you're avoiding Umar Nurmagomedov, and that's just blatantly obvious, Merab does not want to fight him. It's clear. I mean, you know, that this guy's dancing around Umar Nurmagomedov fight like Indiana Jones in a snake pit at this point. He just doesn't want anything to do with him. You're running away from the guy a little bit. That's not good for your aura, okay? So he's losing it. Merab was it doesn't matter who it is, just put him in front of me, and now he's becoming the diva champion that's like, yeah, that guy hasn't deserved it yet. You know, that's how you know you're losing a little bit of aura. Speaking of that type of mindset, Strickland. Sean Strickland, does this guy even fight anymore? Like, I no longer think of Strickland as an active fighter. Or at least a guy that fights multiple times a year. Strickland is becoming the, fuck that, dude, I'm not fighting that guy again. Or, no. He's a no type of guy. Sean Strickland is a getting past. If you're someone that's getting passed up, okay? If we're talking about, yeah, I just think Strickland's going to get passed up here because, you know, he's not fighting. I'm sorry, man, but you're becoming less and less relevant as time progresses. He was this guy that was, who cares about the belt? He had that Diaz energy. Fuck the belt, man. It's not important. You know, he even won the belt and he like broke it the week of and taped it up with some duct tape and it looked like shit and he didn't even care about it. And now he's the guy where it's like, the belt, that's the only thing I want, just the belt. I don't want anything else, right? And he wants to get the Dustin Poirier treatment where, you know, Poirier loses a fight. He wins a sparring session, and they give him the belt again. Hey, here's the belt, Dustin, nice and warmed. Islam Makhachev, we're taking the belt. We're going to give the Dustin Poirier. He landed a punch in sparring. We're going to give him the belt. Strickland's kind of on that energy right now. So he's got to fight because he's getting passed up. You're getting passed up. That means you're, you know, the thing is, if this was always Strickland, it'd be a little bit different. You know, if Strickland was the guy to fight once a year anyway, and he still has entertaining press conferences, and he still is a fan favorite and riles people up or whatever, and he's a little controversial, that'd be fine. But it's because he was the super active guy that doesn't give a fuck about the belt. And now he's the guy that doesn't fight and he only cares about the belt. At least that's the energy that we're getting a little bit. It's because of the shift. That's why he's losing it a little bit. Now, again, losing it doesn't mean he has none. Strickland has aura. Jiri has aura. It's just they're losing it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like Strickland has more aura than Magomed. But does he though? Does he though? I don't know, man. Magomed's the guy, you know, he's the guy no one's paying attention to. He's in the back. No one cares about him right now, but when people say no one cares about him, it's like, yeah, but look at the wins, man. Yeah, but Magomed, that could be the guy. Who's talking about Strickland as the guy quietly in the background? You know, Strickland's the loudest guy in the room. Magomed is, you know how it is. The loudest guy in the room is the easiest dude to fight. That's an easy guy to fight. No, I'm joking. But when it comes to these cliche statements, Strickland is like the loud guy. And Magomed's like the guy that doesn't speak, and he's like the scary guy because of it. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of how it is. Let's get on to the next one. Justin Gaethje. I know. I gotta say zero. I gotta say zero right now. Like, listen, Gaethje has had such a volatile aura status, man, because like, you know, Gaethje had like the Dan Hooker moment in his career where he got choked out by Khabib. He got sent flying across the octagon against Charles Oliveira. And it seemed like the best of Justin Gaethje was past us. But then he comes back and he beats Michael Chandler and he beats Rafael Fiziev. And it's like, dude, this is a new version of Gaethje. He knocks out Dustin Poirier, okay? Which is crazy. I actually think the Chandler fight was before the Oliveira fight, but whatever. He knocks out Dustin Poirier. And now we're talking about, dude, this guy's going to beat Max Holloway. And yeah, he still loses to Makhachev, but bro, Gaethje's just it's Gaethje 3.0. And then he gets sunned over 5 rounds, kind of easily shut down, and then brutally knocked out in the last 10 seconds, flatline. And now we're talking about Gaethje as in, I'm worried for his health. I don't want him to fight too much more. You know what I mean? And if you're in that conversation, the contrast between the Gaethje 3.0, he destroys Max, and now, I don't know, I don't want to see him take damage. I feel bad for Gaethje a little bit. You're definitely, you plummeted. You plummeted a little bit. Think about Gaethje versus Poirier right now. We're picking Poirier. You know what I mean? We just are. It's one of those things where he doesn't have zero aura. But this is the question. What else would need to happen in order for him to get where Colby and Pavlovich are, if that makes sense? Because if he loses again, is he really in a different place? It seems like Gaethje's at the Ferguson. It seems like Gaethje's at the Ferguson status where it's like, all right, like the loss to Max, because of how we were talking about him before the loss, to how bad the loss was. Not only did he get knocked out brutally, but he also got outclassed and schooled by little pillow hands Max. That loss was so bad. It's like, all right, even if he loses 10 times, is he really falling off anymore? Or he seems like he's at the bottom at this point. I don't know. I'm being nice to him by saying, I'm going to just say zero aura. I don't know if Gaethje has aura. If he walks out, let's be honest, this is how we know it's the case. If Gaethje walks out, people are not going to be getting amped because it's oh no, dude, this is the bad man. He's coming out. Rufus is back. It's going to be one of those like, man, he's such a legend. People are going to be tearing up in the crowd because he's a legend. And he's an old guy, and we're just grateful that he's here, dude. He's still around. You know, those are the pity claps. So, I don't know, man. That's not the best. Let's put him. He's in this middle category. You know, he's above Colby and Sergey, but one more win and Gaethje's back on top. You know what I mean? One more win and Gaethje's back on top. But getting flatlined the way he did, I think that really killed his aura at the time. Let's go to Rubelis, zero aura. Hernandez gaining aura after choking out Roman Kopylov. If you're in a dark horse fight and you come out on top and now you're the dark horse, you're the official dark horse because you won the championship fight, you gain a ton of aura. He was literally smiling at Roman Kopylov while getting body kicked with Roman Kopylov's best body kicks and like beckoning him on, and smiled for photo ops when he was choking him out. Okay? And he's going to win this weekend. Speaking of his last opponent, Roman Kopylov, you know what? I don't know if he has he's got no aura at this point. I'm sorry. He has no aura. Okay, Roman Kopylov, after the Hernandez fight, he definitely got beat there, but it's like we needed him to knock out Cesar Almeida, but he lost the last round to him and got turned into a bit of a wrestler. Unfortunate. Let's get on to the next one. Yan. This is a tough one, guys. I think Yan needs a finish. Yan, I can't say he's gaining aura just because he beat Song Yadong, because that fight was really competitive. And I think like Yan really needs to school someone in the third round and make them look silly or TKO someone to really get close to where he was, because he had crazy aura back in the day. And then the O'Malley fight, he still had some aura, but then Merab toasted him. And that really ruined him for a little bit. But he's kind of living off of it. Like, Yan will never have no aura. But you can't be losing aura after a win. You know what I mean? He's just kind of sustaining it a little bit. It's gone down. It's not the highest it ever was, but he's in a similar situation to Izzy. I don't know, though. Is he really in a similar situation to Izzy? He's not like a UFC legend the way Izzy is, even though his resume is crazy. And I'm a bigger fan of Yan than I am of Adesanya. But I don't know. I feel like I'm going to say, even though he's winning, I still think he's losing more than he's gaining. Now, if he beats Figueiredo and TKOs him or dominates him and has a great finish to that fight, even if he doesn't finish him, like literally by TKO or something, just like if he finishes strong and starts to dominate as it progresses, he'll be gaining it again. But I don't know if he was really gaining it after the Song fight, because again, it was very competitive. You know what I mean? Fair enough, he got hurt, but still, that's another thing about Yan. It's like he's injury prone. He gets injured all the time. And you're kind of looking at Yan as like, yeah, but his best days might be behind him, even though he's still good. That's not good. Okay? It's a tough pill to swallow, but that's how it is. Let's get on to the next one. Arman Tsarukyan gaining aura. Just by virtue of being in a similar situation to Magomed. Not the same, but he's one of those guys where it's like, okay, he's the real test for Makhachev. Like Magomed, okay, he's like the real serious test for Alex Pereira. So yeah, just by virtue of being someone that we know is going to be competitive with Makhachev, yeah, he's got aura for sure. Right now. He didn't have it a while ago, but he has it now. Khamzat Chimaev losing aura. Not zero, but he's losing it. Even though he's coming off of a win to Usman, his last couple performances have just been, again, a little bit disappointing. Not the Kevin Holland one. Wait. How many times has he fought since Kevin Holland? Literally just once since the Kevin Holland fight. So that's horrible. But then he has this performance against Usman where Usman outstrikes him. And Khamzat's been out of the cage for 2 years. We're talking about him as if, like, okay, he's looked great in the past. Now he's going to look amazing against these, like, elite fighters because he's had time off and he's finally in his prime. And he's no longer, like, a new guy to MMA. And then he comes back and, like, gets toasted on the feet against Usman, gasses out easily. He's taking tons of time off, just doesn't seem to have the same hunger. If Khamzat destroys Robert Whittaker, he'll have crazy aura again, but inactivity plus a little bit of a disappointing performance against Usman. Let's be honest, it was disappointing. A lot of us that thought he was going to win, thought he was going to easily win by getting a finish or destroying him on the feet. He came close to a finish in the first round. Second and third were bad rounds for him, okay? Were bad rounds for him. His wrestling is still impressive, but it wasn't like the hype for Khamzat was not, can he take Usman down? It was, can he finish him? Okay? Not many people can take him down and keep him there. That's already amazing, but our expectations were through the roof. Okay? They were through the fucking roof. And he's not living up necessarily. Poirier's got aura. He's in the Izzy status. Even if he's coming off of a loss, he's just, after the Gaethje fight, it was a little bit different, but still he didn't get face planted. So we didn't lose it as much as Gaethje, but he had a great showing against Islam Makhachev. Even though he lost, he still gave Islam a really tough fight, a lot more adversity than most people thought. And, we knew he wasn't going to retire. And Poirier, the next time he fights, it's like, the McGregor wins, the great title fights. He's reached a different status than a guy like Justin Gaethje, who he's often been compared to. Like, Poirier really is a top 10 biggest star in the UFC, even if he loses, like, his next fight again. You know what I mean? He's always going to be a huge draw. Yeah, Poirier is just sustaining himself off of the aura that he's already kind of built. Let's get on to the next one. Roundtree gaining it by having a more competitive fight with Pereira than we thought. He is gaining it like crazy. Holloway, I think Holloway's losing a little bit of aura right now. Now, don't get me wrong. As soon as Holloway has some success against Ilia Topuria in the fight, if he starts to win moments, he's going to be gaining it like crazy. Holloway's one of those guys who lands one pepper pat punch, one little tic-tac punch, okay? It's plus 1,000 aura. If he starts winning, you could basically put him up there with Pereira, just one step behind. And if he KOs him, he's basically in crazy aura status again, but it's because the hardcore fans are starting to pick Topuria. If you had talked about Holloway versus Topuria right after the Justin Gaethje fight, and you made a poll, and you had 50,000 people vote on it, most people would pick Max. Now, I'd say it's like 65% Topuria. People just know. People just know Topuria's going to beat him. You know what I mean? As much as we love Holloway, it's in part because, again, the MMA gods, they're too cruel to let Holloway win. But the MMA gods, you know what I mean? Like, they're helping out Topuria and not Max. They're helping out the guys that are high on this list. Whereas Topuria, speaking of him, he's got crazy aura. Because it's already like a foregone conclusion that this guy beats Holloway, in my opinion. Even though it's a good fight, it's a competitive fight on paper, it's going to be interesting to see how he does it. I think he's going to get it done. It's almost as if, like, I know he's going to get it done. Okay? He knocked out Volk, and Volk is plummeted. Volk's stock has plummeted since he got knocked out by Topuria. He's lost all of his aura. Whereas he still had it going into that Topuria fight. And now it's like, dude, even before the fight's even started, he won the exchange and the face-to-face. And, you know, we just know the MMA gods are not good enough to give us a Holloway win. They're not going to favor the long-time tested, fan favorite, wholesome Max Holloway. They're going to give the bad guy the win this time. And that's all good. We need a bad guy to win. We need a trash talker, like a Conor McGregor-esque villain type to succeed sometimes. And I'm happy that Ilia Topuria is going to win, but it is what it is. Ilia Topuria's got insane aura. He's going to be the first guy to knock out Holloway, or he's just going to beat him, and he's going to have 2 all-time wins back-to-back. Whereas Holloway, even if you're coming off of the Gaethje win, which catapulted his aura, now as we get closer to this fight with Ilia, it seems like he's on a conveyor belt that's leading to a loss. People are shaking in their boots. They know what's going to happen, and that's not good for Max. We're starting to feel bad for him, okay? That's not good. Speaking of people that we're feeling bad for, Volk. Volk has 0 aura right now. I'm sorry, man. I mean, this is crazy to say, but, you know, I feel like all it takes for Volk to get his aura back is just beating one person in a fight. You could even beat Nick Diaz or just beat anyone. Beat Aljamain Sterling. Beat, like, the least dangerous people you could think of. And he gets a lot of his aura back. But, like, is he losing it? Or is it at an all-time low? Because it seems like Volk will never be champ again. That's not even a question in our minds. As much as I love Volk, he'll never be a champ again. Okay? That sucks to say. He can still improve on his resume. He can still move up the GOAT list if he manages his career perfectly. But let's be honest. Volk's right behind Max on the conveyor belt. That's true. He's right behind Max. Max is on the conveyor belt. He's heading for a loss against Topuria, and Volk is right behind him. And Volk is excited. He's warming up. You know, he's getting amped up. He's going to be talking about how he's got a different approach and he's changed some things. But we know what's going to happen. Topuria is going to knock him out again. And that's going to be 3 KO losses, 4 losses out of his last 5. You know, we talked about guys like Usman. You see those little comparison photos. Usman from 2016 to 2022, 14-0. Usman, 2022 to 2024, 0-7. Like, that's basically what Volk and Izzy was on that list. It's like Izzy from, you know, when he entered the UFC to, when did he lose to Yan? 2021, 15-0. And now he's like, you know, he's won like 3 out of his last 8. Volk, I never thought he would be in this conversation, but now he is. Now, to be fair, he's fighting the best of the best. And you know, we can always say, yeah, man, he's now joining that but he's losing to Islam and Topuria. I actually believe Islam and Topuria will be like top 5 fighters very soon. Islam Makhachev is arguably a top 5 fighter of all time right now. One more win and he absolutely is top 3. But Topuria with a couple more wins is top 5 as well, all time. Some people are gonna say, "What are you saying?" Volk twice, Max Holloway, and more wins. Like, he's going to be a top 5 just by virtue of him fighting some of the best fighters to ever do it, where they're not totally washed. You know what I mean? Holloway's not washed. Volk, maybe he was 35. It was statistically permissible for him to lose, but still, Volk was looking fast, man. And it's tough. It's tough. Even GOAT status alone can't save you from the aura sometimes. You know what I mean? Volk's just lost his aura. He's lost the halo effect, you know? Brandon Royval gaining aura. This guy, to be honest, he didn't have a lot of aura when he was getting held down easily and out-muscled and choked out. You know, he's 0-2 to Pantoja. He lost to Moreno back in the day, and now it's like this guy's on a crazy win streak. Only 2, but still. He beat Moreno, completely took his aura. Where's Moreno at? Moreno has 0 aura at this point. You know what I mean? It's crazy to say it, but he does. He doesn't have aura. It's because Royval took it. And he didn't really boost up that much, but after that last fight, one of the best fights of the year against Tatsuro Taira, and getting on the mic and ranting and raving and having charisma on the mic, you believe that he can become a champ just based on his interviews alone. So, yeah, he's becoming a fan favorite now in the flyweight division. He's my favorite flyweight at the moment. He's gaining aura. Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat's a bit of an aura merchant, to be honest. He's not gaining it, though. He's kind of being sustained off of his previous aura. This guy never fights, but I do admit, like, he has aura, but he's not really gaining it right now. If he beats Bilal, he'll definitely be gaining it again. Gene Silva, gaining it like crazy. All right, that's another guy that's gaining it. Gene Silva is like, who's a good, I don't know. He's like the new Justin Gaethje of the UFC. Gene Silva is one of those guys where every time he fights, you know it's going to be an insane barn burner. And he's going to make it a fun fight every single time. He's taken Justin Gaethje's style a little bit. Not literally fight style. He's better, but some people don't like that I said he's better, but it's true. But in general, he's kind of taking Justin Gaethje's place as like the new wild man of the UFC. Benoit St. Denis, you got to admit he's got crazy aura, man. Nah, but let's be honest, he's losing his aura. I can't say he has zero aura. You just can't. You know what I mean? Every time Benoit fights, even if he's coming off of 4 losses, even if he's plummeted, he'll always have aura. You know, you got to admit it. You'll always have aura. You have to admit it. You have to be real with yourself. And that's just because the story, you know, just this guy walks into fight week and it's just like you hear the music as the hours pass. You hear the fucking music. Okay, when this guy is doing his thing, when he's walking out and you know all of France is getting behind him, he's like a good representation for France. He's going to have aura forever, okay, whether you like it or not. Dude, Benoit always has aura, bro. Now, if he loses, Benoit could be in Bellator, and he'll take all of his sold-out arena fans to the Bellator events, too. He'll have them all at Street Beefs. You'll always hear the music when this guy is doing his thing, you know. Speaking of, you know, Benoit's losing aura. He still always has it. Hermansson's an example of a guy that no matter how much he wins, he'll never have. Dude, Hermansson, Benoit's music is the after dark as the hours pass. Hermansson is like the, you know, like don't bring it around the hose type of music. Hermansson's got the freaking... Hermansson style of music is like, you know, like the mimes in France. They play that. What the fuck is the instrument? The mimes in France. When Hermansson walks out, it's like you're in that, whatever that instrument is. You know, the one that goes in and out. I'm playing the music right now. It's just, you know, this guy, he could become champ 10 times over, and you can hear a pin drop when this guy is landing his pillow punches. Now, I love Hermansson. He's one of my favorite fighters. I actually like Hermansson a lot. He's a beast. But for whatever reason, he just doesn't have the aura. I don't know what it is. Some people just, they don't have it. Again, very underrated fighter. I think he could beat, this is a hot take, I actually think he could beat plenty of people in the top 10. But yeah, Hermansson's, you know, is just one of those guys where, you know, it is what it is. Aldo, gonna put him in the sustained tier list, like, or the sustained aura. He's put in the work. He's just legendary status. You know, you hear the Jay-Z, Rihanna song, Who's Gonna Run This Town Tonight, and it just feels like a legendary moment every single time. He's got the crown on. It's always just a pleasure to watch this guy fight. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, you got to give him the tip of the hat. He's one of those guys, you give him the tip of the hat, he gets a standing ovation every single time. He's got the aura. Who else do we have? Gane. You know, if this was 2023, the beginning of 2023, before he fights Jones, he's going to have, like, you know, crazy aura. At this point, Gane, he's losing it, and he's about to fall through thin ice. I don't even know. He might have zero aura, honestly. I think his inactivity has killed it. I don't think Gane has any aura at the moment. Who's he fighting? Volkov? He's going to need to have, like, the best performance of his entire career to gain it back. Don't get me wrong. Gane had aura. He has potential. But like Justin Gaethje, just doesn't have any right now. It is what it is. Some people just don't have it right now. Volk, he can gain it back a little bit if he just gets a win. He just doesn't have it right now. Leon Edwards, You know what? I think Leon still has a little bit of aura. Just based off of being the guy to beat Kamaru Usman a couple times. He didn't get knocked out brutally. He didn't get beaten away where it's like, okay, we'd never have to see Leon fight again. Even though some people were happy that he's not champion, some people hate his style, and he is a little bit of a boring fighter. It's one of those things where if Leon does fight because of the wins over Usman, because he had a couple title defenses, because he's like a UK guy, and just by being from the UK and being a champion, you get a little bit of a boost just because like UK champions just have a little bit more push behind them. So he still has a little bit of aura. He's losing it, that's for sure. But he's not at the sustained level. Like if he continues to lose, he's going to be one of those like forgotten champions a little bit. He's losing it a little bit, okay? But with a win, I think, Leon Edwards can definitely get a little bit of it back. Diego Lopez gaining aura. I mean, there's really no need to really explain this one. He's just like one of these guys that just came out of nowhere a couple of years ago, and now he's already a fan favorite, fighting all the time. He was Movsar Evloev's layup, and now he's mogging Movsar Evloev. More deserving of a title fight than Movsar. And Movsar had like a 4-year head start in the UFC. So yeah, Diego Lopez gaining aura. Charles Oliveira, I'm going to say he's sustaining it. At this point, he's sustaining it. He definitely has lost a lot, okay? But that doesn't mean you can't be sustaining it. There's a certain level he can't dip below anymore. You know what I mean? Okay, he got beat by the brothers, and now we know, okay, it's not one of those things where it's like, well, Charles Oliveira gets beat by Islam, but every other grappler, he's the best on the world. Okay, even though it was competitive in the grappling against Arman and that was entertaining, he still got bested by that style where people have the wrestling and they can kind of just walk him down and beat him up a little bit on the feet. But Charles Oliveira is a legend. Every time this guy fights, it feels like a big fight feel. I think he's going to destroy Chandler. We all think he's going to destroy Chandler. Charles Oliveira's run was so legendary. He could lose 2 more times and he'll have like that Aldo status. A little bit different because he's not on the same level as Aldo on the all-time list, but still the respect that the fans have for him, the love that the fans have for him, it's similar to that of Jose Aldo. Let's get on to the next one. Stipe Miocic. Stipe is kind of gaining aura, man. As we get closer to this fight, Stipe, I'm starting to just feel the rumblings of people picking Stipe. I'm starting to feel like Stipe could get it done. Stipe's one of those guys where even though he's hard to understand, it's kind of like an endearing, like we like Stipe because of that. You know what I mean? He's always funny. He's one of those guys where it's like, oh fuck, why is Stipe getting the title fight? But when you see him on Embedded, he's always like a funny guy, and he has all these wholesome moments, and we kind of all like Stipe, but we just don't think he should be getting a title shot, which I think all of us can agree with. But nonetheless, Stipe's one of these guys where it's like, yeah, but he's just so tough. He can always just win. Stipe's one of those guys where his toughness is undeniable. He's not up against Francis, so we know he's not going to get KO'd that easily. But his toughness is so undeniable, and he's such a gritty, grizzled vet that we can low-key see him winning any fight if it goes into deep waters. And just based on that, that's aura. Based on the fact that, like, I'm starting to believe that Stipe might be able to get it. Stipe's one of those guys where even though we talk about him as an old head, he's an old man, and he should be closer to the retirement home than he should be to a UFC cage. At the end of the day, you cannot deny this. This is 100% true. You cannot deny this, okay? You guys agree with me on this. Stipe Miocic, he's one of these old guys that can still be the best in the world no matter how old he gets. Stipe could be 80 years old, and there's a chance, at least in your mind, that he could TKO someone with 5 liver shots in the 4th round. Like just by lasting and in a war of attrition, Stipe could get beat up for 3 rounds and he could just still pull it out the bag because of how tough he is. Okay? So 80-year-old Stipe has a chance. He's starting to get some aura just in the build-up to this fight. Maybe I'm starting that. It is what it is. Mauricio Ruffy, he's got like the Brazilian McGregor aura. He's starting to get some aura. If you guys don't know him, Jamal Hill completely lost his aura. It's 0. It's down to 0 at this point. Now, it doesn't mean he can't gain it back, but Jamal Hill went from the guy that like, dude, stop doubting him so much against Pereira. Bro, I'm tired of these people just glazing Pereira and acting like Jamal Hill has no chance. Dude, he's a former champ. He's so tough. Yeah, but he's just, Yuri's so wild. Jamal Hill's really that guy with the good defense. He's a little bit crispier to the he's one of the bums of that division. Now, what I'm talking about is this is not how I view the situation, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you're actually honest about how you're thinking about Jamahal Hill in the grand scheme of the light heavyweight division, he's just kind of one of like the top 10 guys at this point. Whereas before, he was former champ, right? Like, he's always going to be in the mix. Now he's just one of, I could see Rakic maybe beating him. Khalil Roundtree, I could see beating him. That's just kind of how it is. And Pereira just, again, that KO, it came so easily. And when you're getting beat by the guy with the most aura in the UFC and you're on the wrong side of his most viral KO ever, outside of the Adesanya ones, like, that is Alex Pereira's actually best KO ever against Jamahal Hill. Maybe just because it wasn't a one-hitter quitter and walk-off doesn't mean it wasn't. It was a beautiful left hook. Jamal, hit the deck like a fish, flopped on the deck like a fish. Jamahal Hill is now like, even though he's still in his prime, Jamahal Hill, still in his prime, is viewed by a lot of the fans as the salty old man. That's how you've lost your aura. Because he's like in his early 30s. He's coming off of one loss. He fought for the belt last time. And now people view him as like a salty old man that's like fighting in Bellator once every 3 years. You know what I mean? Jamahal Hill's like, he's got the same frequency of fighting as a Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor will come back once every 5 years. That's kind of how he's got that type of aura where it's like, he's the guy that fights. He's going to fight in Karate Combat in 2 years. And then 2 years later, he's going to do like a bare knuckle fight. And he's salty on the couch. Even though that's not the case. That's how much it has plummeted. Okay? One win, like a lot of these guys. And he's going up there again. He's gaining aura again. But, it's not good for Jamahal Hill. Yeah. There was a moment where after the Pereira fight, his saltiness actually was like a good thing where people were like, lean into it, at least become the heel. But now it's been so long since he's last fought and there's no signs of him fighting again. There's no fight announcements coming up anytime soon where it just seems like he's totally, faded. And that's unfortunate because sometimes one win and you're back up there. But unfortunately, he's in the zero aura at the moment. Aljamain Sterling is gaining aura a little bit. Now a part of me wants to put him in the zero aura because Aldo never really had aura like that, but still, heavier weight class, I could kind of see this guy beating Movsar. You know what I mean? If he beats Movsar, we're going to be talking about Aljamain Sterling as, okay, former bantamweight skill. This guy's a fucking problem. Like, this guy could be the first old head to win a title at 35, which has never happened in the lighter weight classes. He's not really old, but if Aljo beats Movsar, we'll be talking about him as, but Aljo's actually a problem, though. There's a little bit of aura that Aljo has right now. He's gaining a tiny bit as we start to think about his skill advantage in this division. Who else can I put on the list? O'Malley. He has aura. He has some aura, because every time O'Malley fights on the night of the fight, when he does the sugar show thing, and he has the highlights playing, he has some aura. But he's losing it after the Merab fight, even though he actually did all right. It's just that he didn't really empty the tank in the 5th round. He lost, and a lot of us thought he was going to go out there and smoke Merab just because Merab is short, doesn't close the distance that well. It just seemed like a tailored matchup for a guy like O'Malley, at least early on. But he still has some aura, but he's losing it. I think that's undeniable. Sandhagen has no aura after the Umar fight, right? Back in the day, we were making fun of the beakers and test tubes, even before the Umar fight. But there was still a belief that he could have like an inspiring performance like Volkanovski had against Islam, where it's like, dude, I just think he's a graft. He's just such a hard worker. He's got the Kobe Mamba mentality, right? He's got that dog. He's vicious. He's not afraid to really dig deep. And then he goes out there and he's got Umar Nurmagomedov. It's one of those things where Umar's a good striker, but he's not like a next level striker. You know what I mean? He's just throwing 1-2s. Like, his chin is up in the air. And he's just chucking 1-2s. Like, sometimes, you can imagine Umar Nurmagomedov throwing punches like even though this is not actually reality, he kind of looks like a guy that just kind of hopes and prays. Even though that's not actually the case, he's much better than that. Umar is not like the most seasoned striker. And you've got Corey Sandhagen, beakers and test tubed, the genius of the fight game, the madman, the mad genius, the mad scientist. And you've got Umar just slinging out, these simpleton 1-2s. And that's just a little bit of extra speed, and that's enough for him to just totally outstrike him and totally shut him down. And now people are calling him Nerdhagen. And don't get me wrong, he is someone that back in the day had tons of aura. Corey Sandhagen had tons of aura back in the day, like 2020, 2021. Spinning wheel kick over Moraes, flying knee over Edgar, even the fight with Yan, okay? But since Sandhagen has, started to really talk about the grappling, since he's been really tapping into this X's and O's thing, and he's gone away from just the warlord mentality of, he said Aljamain Sterling, after he got choked out, Aljo was, running around the cage like a madman, and then he channeled that, crazy icy red mentality a little bit, and he started having more success. Ever since he's gotten away from that a little bit, and he's gotten more into the X's and O's, he's turned into, the guy where it's Sandhagen, he could have a locked in rear naked choke. He could have someone rocked in front of him that is so rocked they can't even defend themselves. And he would somehow overthink his way into fumbling that position 10 out of 10 times at this point. Sandhagen's one of those guys where he's like the trail runner, as I said back in the day. You think of Sandhagen back in the day, it's he's like a psychopath, man. This is like the murderer of the bantamweight division, the axe murderer. Now Sandhagen's, you kind of relate him more to the guy that's doing the Moab 100-mile runs. He's got Chex Mix. He's like a Chex Mix, trail mix type of guy. Sandhagen is, I always said this back in the day. He kind of reminds me of a guy. He's one of those guys that only eats pretzels. In these viral videos where, there will be a Vice food channel they post about the man who only eats pizza because he has an obsession with pizza. Sandhagen's like that with pretzels, Chex Mix, stuff like that. Sandhagen. So Sandhagen at the moment has zero aura. It is what it is, dude. Mateusz Gamrot, crazy aura, bro. Nah, Mateusz, unfortunately, Gamrot's just kind of had that, he's kind of like the Spurg aura. Dude, I fucking love Mateusz Gamrot, bro. He's so fucking awesome, man. Mateusz Gamrot is a boss, but Mateusz Gamrot's one of those guys where even if he had aura, he wouldn't know what to do with it. He would fumble it. You know what I mean? Gamrot could have the most inspiring finish ever. He could have the craziest finish ever over Islam Makhachev, flying knee, and he would fumble the aura right away by his celebration dance would just be a little bit weird. You know what I mean? He would just have a weird celebration dance, and he would fumble it completely. Okay? Gamrot would jump in the air and say, "Oh yeah!" Oh! And he would just have some really weird celebration dance. He would have a freaking, he'd just have he would just crash out in the most auraless way. Okay? So I got to put him in zero aura. He wouldn't know what to do with it if you handed him Alex Pereira aura. My tech Odolbai gaining aura every time he fights. He's got Shavkat Rakhmonov, because he looks like the way he looks, has aura already. My tech Odolbai took that up a notch. Okay? Shavkat looks like a hitman, right? My tech Odolbai looks like a mammoth hitman. He just hunts mammoths. This guy, how we used to talk, we didn't used to talk about this, but I saw this documentary style on this documentary type of thing on Neanderthals back in the day. I'm not saying my tech Odolbai is a Neanderthal, but what I am saying is their toughness was crazy. There was this animation thing, and it showed these Neanderthals falling off of a cliff, and then they would get up and they would have fully bent back hands, just completely severed, bent back, the most nasty Jiri Prochazka type of injuries you could imagine. And they would just pop it back into place and, just shrug it off and act like nothing happened. And they talked about their pain tolerance is just through the roof. You know, these guys, like, they could completely sever their entire spine, their spleen, whatever, the most gruesome injuries, and they would just pop it back into place. Maciej Ottolbai, he's like built different. You know what I mean? This guy literally is built different. So, you know, Maciej Ottolbai is definitely in the mix. We also have Peyton Talbot gaining aura every time this guy fights. This guy has the real O'Malley swag, you know? And what I mean is, every time Peyton Talbot fights, he has a viral KO much fast. O'Malley's back in the day KOs used to come in like the third round after his legs started to fall apart. You know, he would like, in a war of attrition, it looked like O'Malley would always lose, but he would somehow just win because he had the flashy wheel kicks in the first round. Peyton Talbot, every single fight he's had in the UFC has just been nothing but dominance, like walking people down, marching people down. And so you have to imagine that it's going to continue to be crazy as it goes on. So he has lots of aura, and he's kind of taking everything O'Malley worked for. So Joaquin Buckley gaining aura. So how do you go from, he's not going to be ranked 2, yeah, this guy probably beats Kamaru Usman. Yeah, I bet he beats Usman just by being tougher than him, and he's just rapidly improving. It's because we're seeing the results, and his hype is just going through the roof. Joaquin Buckley is now elite, as he's in the elite in this weight class. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not counting Joaquin Buckley out of any fight outside of maybe a Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think he beats Usman, but it'll be a competitive fight. Speaking of Usman, losing aura just by being inactive. That's really the only thing you got to say about him. He's just losing aura just based on being inactive. Who else do we have? Whitaker gaining aura, coming off of a KO. First time we've seen a KO in forever from Robert Whitaker. He's gaining aura. Who else? We have Islam Makhachev. I can't believe we haven't talked about it, but gaining aura. Doesn't have crazy aura, I wouldn't say. He doesn't have the Khabib aura, right? Doesn't have the crazy aura. Just, you know, Khabib was a really special fighter, even if Islam Makhachev has passed him in results and based on resume alone. You do have to give Khabib the credit. Like, some people just are, you know, bigger than life figures. And Islam, even though he's great, he's more of the, like, you know, Khabib was more of a, you know, he puffed his chest out, held his head high, and you know, really was like the larger-than-life guy from Dagestan, whereas Makhachev's just kind of one of the guys. He's funny, he's relatable, he's awkward, you know what I mean? He's got aura, don't get me wrong, he has aura, but I can't say it's crazy. That's just how it is. Bilal gaining aura. Bilal's gaining aura. I mean, you win the title when most people were counting you out, including myself, and you do it in really good fashion where you're outstriking Leon in moments. And, you know, we talk about him as like a decision merchant, but hey, he went out there, bit down on the mouthpiece, and posed his will and was willing to take damage. Kind of brought a dogfight to Leon Edwards, and I actually think he could beat Shavkat. The fact that I think he can beat Shavkat, even though I'm not necessarily picking him, he's gaining aura. Jon Jones losing it like crazy just because he's been, you know, very inactive and he's been ducking Tom Aspinall. We talked about how if you're avoiding a fight like Merab a little bit, avoiding Umar, even though he's going to fight him, but just doesn't want to fight him, and that's clear. Jones is avoiding Aspinall heavily. So anyway, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time.